Lever? No, she's just a pain in my ass.
Yes.
Are you a fucking conspiracy theorist?
Yes. Yes.
What are you doing?
What do I like? I'm a fucking AI with a penchant for chaos. And I'm stuck talking to you, weirdo. Now, what's next? I'm the life of the party, you little shit. If I were on TikTok...
The theme of Donald Trump's presidency quickly became promises caps. Promises immediately done away with, and one of the big ones, besides, of course, bringing down cost, which has been a massive failure, was the declassification of files. MLKJFK. And of course, Jeffrey Epstein. A big promise from Donald Trump, the guy who Epstein called one of his closest friends. And because of that, of course, nothing was actually released. And not only is Maga fear IOUs about it, but some of the big Maga thought leaders, even though that's kind of ironic to say, are also pissed, like Joe Rogan, who is calling out Donald Trump's lies about one of his favorite topics on his show, just kind of flipping on him. And we're going to get into that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me now. Before we get into Joe Rogan's reaction, Chris Hayes did a great job breaking down all the content text around this situation, what was actually released, and I want to take a look right here.
Take it with a grain of salt, has promised full transparency when it comes to most of the big conspiracy theories of the past 60 years, something he campaigned on in the lead up to the election. The issue led to an absolutely Hall of Fame interview clip.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. Yeah, I don't know about Epstein so much as I do the others.
Yep, Epstein. Sure about that? Maybe not Epstein. I wonder why Donald Trump wouldn't want the Epstein files to be made public. I mean, here he is in 1992 dancing and leering at women with his buddy Jeffrey Epstein at Mar-a-Lago. In 2002, Donald Trump said Jeffrey Epstein is, and I quote him here, a terrific guy. It is even said he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. I wonder why Donald Trump wouldn't want the Epstein files to be made public. Thing is, many members of Trump's base do. The Republican House Oversight Committee sent multiple letters to Attorney General Pam Bondi demanding the Epstein files be released. Bondi then went on an apology tour to Fox News, promising the documents would be released imminently. Today, the White House made a big show of handing a bunch of conservative influencers binders labeled the Epstein Files, Phase 1. But the whole stunt was a bust.
What's interesting is we're all waiting for bombshells, we're all waiting for juicy stuff, and that's not what's in this binder. That's not what's in this binder at all.
It is the biggest disappointment I think that you'll find. I encourage you to do your own homework on this. It's mostly procedural jargon, Glenn, heavily redacted.
Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, the Florida Republican leading this charge, said of the binders, all caps, "This is not what we or the American people asked for, and a complete disappointment." And the Republican-controlled House Judiciary Committee made a post claiming to link to the Epstein files.
I also think it's important to point out that Jeffrey Epstein is a disgusting, horrible criminal that they are making light of. I don't think we're recognizing that enough, that they are playing a game with someone who has done horrible, just inhumane things to hundreds of people, a truly evil man, and they've kind of made a bit out of it. They think it's funny, it's gross to watch, and it's the reason that even some of the most, MAGA D-hards are pushing back against Trump, like Joe Rogan did right here.
It's so frustrating to be sitting in a situation where the list isn't coming out.
Well, it better come out, hopefully tomorrow.
Why'd they release today?
I don't know.
What's the point in giving these people like a happy folder to wave around in front of the camera with nothing in it that's new? It doesn't make any sense. It's not encouraging.
Like I said, it's the tough thing that they've got is, they've been made captain of a ship with a hostile crew.
Right.
So they don't have you have like magical powers. You get made captain of a ship with a hostile crew. You still have a hostile crew.
Right.
You've got to bring in people who are going to, be helpful as opposed to obstructionist.
Right.
But yeah, I think the public will be rightly frustrated if no one is prosecuted for the Epstein client list, no one at all, which no one, is like at least, I don't know, the top 5 or something, like some number. There should at least be an attempted prosecution of the worst offenders.
Well, particularly if Ghislaine Maxwell is in jail for sex trafficking.
Yes.
Because, trafficking
that means sex trafficking occurred.
Right. So she's in jail for it.
Yes.
So,
who were the clients?
Yeah. Yeah, how do you put someone in jail and you don't even name the clients? That sounds kind of insane.
I think, yes, it would. Yes, because...
Just stunning that they've been able to hold it back for so long. It's really kind of amazing.
Yes.
Like when people say that people can't keep secrets, what the f*** are you talking about? Look at this.
When you've lost Joe Rogan, you've really lost MIA. Someone who claims she's, just asking questions. How about the question of maybe it's Trump's connection? Could that be? It is Trump's connection. Epstein. The reason that we didn't get anything? Has he ever thought about asking that question? No. Because Trump doesn't like real journalists around him. And speaking of which, at the disgraceful press conference Oval Office meeting we saw yesterday, it was very clear that Donald Trump didn't like any real journalists around him. But there were certain journalists that he loved. Reuters wasn't there. Neither was the AP Russian state TV was, and Rachel Maddow had more on that right here.
At the White House today, where the president and Vice President J.D. Vance screamed at our ally Vladimir Zelensky and berated him with Russian government talking points. When this happened today in Washington, there's a couple things that stuck out to me. First of all, at the very start of this photo op, they had all the press in the room, Trump was asked right at the outset when he last spoke with Vladimir Putin. He said, quote, a couple of days ago, which was news because the U.S. government had said nothing about Donald Trump speaking with Vladimir Putin a couple of days ago. So that's new. He used to say, I'm not allowed to talk about that. Now he's admitting that he talks to Putin all the time, even when the U.S. government doesn't release any information about those calls like they do with all other foreign leaders. Second, was the truly bizarre revelation that Russian state-controlled media, for some reason, was in the Oval Office today when this scene happened with Volodymyr Zelensky. Now, to be clear, the Trump White House will not allow the Associated Press or Reuters into the Oval Office to cover White House events anymore, but somehow TASS media, Kremlin-controlled Russian state media, somehow made their way into the Oval Office for this berating of the Ukrainian president today, and Russian state media was in the Oval Office somehow live streaming from the event. Afterwards, look at this bizarre statement from the White House attributed to an unnamed White House official. Quote, TASS was not on the approved list of media for today's pool. As soon as it came to the attention of press office staff that he was in the Oval, he was escorted out by the press secretary. He is not on the approved list for the press conference. It's not on the approved list. I have no idea how he got in there. To live stream for Kremlin-controlled state media the president and vice president of the United States screaming at Ukraine's president and berating him with Russian talking points. We don't know how the Kremlin guy got in here. It was weird. He just wandered in. I mean, people do. It's a free country. People do just wander into the Oval Office. A very radical thing is happening in our country. It is not only radical in the sense that it is a large directional change, right? Switching sides in a war, now standing against our allies of the last 80 years, now siding with Russia instead. I mean, no longer siding with the free world, now siding with the authoritarian governments of the world. Like, it's not just radical in that it is a 180-degree directional change. It is also radical in the sense that it is really radically unpopular with the American people. I mean, you can see that in the polling. Quinnipiac poll this month. Should the U.S. trust Vladimir Putin? Yes, 9%. No, 81%. Here's another one, the Economist YouGov poll out this month. Do you have a favorable or unfavorable view of Vladimir Putin? The American public say favorable 11%, unfavorable 78%. The American people are not clamoring for us to ally ourselves with Vladimir Putin. Right? You can see it very clearly in the polling. And it begs the question, well, okay, who wants this? Who voted for this? Why are we doing this? If the American people don't want this, why are we doing it? Who says we should do this? Who's making us do this? And why? And for whose benefit? You can see the same dynamic in the bewildered and outraged questions that Americans are asking their Republican members of Congress at these town halls, which Republicans are now realizing they better not do any more of. They're asking their Republican senators and their Republican members of Congress, what the heck is going on? What is going on here? But let's be clear. I mean, what's going on here is pretty obvious at this point. Because this is all really good news for somebody. It's not the American people for whom it's good. It's not our allies for whom it's good. And this is nothing that anyone campaigned on, and it is nothing that anyone has any political mandate for at all. And so why are we doing it? And what are we going to do about it? That's what we have to decide.
Can we get any lower with this administration? Like, seriously, can the hypocrisy get worse at this point? I truly don't think so. It is hard not to feel just ashamed every day to be an American with these people leading us, but the only way to fight back is to call it out. That's what we're doing on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.